Yo, what's up? What's up? Well. Basketball is back on yet again. You know, just from what I saw, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, these dudes just took a day off basically, and resumed on the weekend. Additional rest. I was like, good, okay, good. Y'all want to spread the message? Fine, whatever. More rest for Westbrook. More rest for Luka Doncic, more rest for God, who's even injured right now? More rest for Kemba. Okay, fine. Better for us, to see some more quality playoff games, man. I mean, come on, man. I mean, the one funny thing is that people get so offended, by this boycott issue. I'm thinking to myself, like, bro, like whatever's, man. I'm like people are saying like, okay, F the NBA, I'm not gonna watch. Like, okay, fine, then more NBA for me. Like, okay, whatever. Then, I'm just watching basketball just to watch basketball, bro. I tune everything out. No, it's not that big of a deal sometimes, when you're talking about all this, political stuff, but it is what it is, I guess. You know, One thing that I did think of was, yeah, when the people players are boycotting that game on Thursday or is it Wednesday, either one, and I'm just thinking to myself, there's no way that the NBA will allow this to happen, yet again, right? I mean, because you think about it, there's billions of dollars being involved. TV contracts, exclusive contracts with like ESPN, TNT and stuff like that. We talking about like billions, right? You know, People want to make it sound like, oh, these players have all the power in the world. So not really. They're employees of the owners. And these billionaire owners, like, they have all the leeway and leverage when it comes to the CBA contract next season, right? And if you mess with their money, okay, fine, then they mess with your money like next season, right? Like you think like you think it's all fine and dandy to mess with your employer, not just an employer, but like $1 billion industry like that. Like you think it's that easy? Like, some people gotta think. Like sometimes, like, bro, you gotta use some critical thinking. Like you need to separate certain. Like, do certain people believe like they're doing good cause? Sure, but sometimes, and it's just goodwill, for the audience to see, and you know they want to project this image of social justice. I mean, just think about like Nike and stuff, right? Like Nike literally uses slave labor, but they'll portray themselves as like, we'll be giving like $1 million back to like black communities. So okay, fine. Then what about the Asian like slave laborers that you use, right? Like around like China and like Bangladesh or like Vietnam, right?
Our Arts and Crafts Center is, in actuality, a Dickensian workhouse. Come on, wimps! These Gucci walls have to be on the streets of Hong Kong by Friday!
Like, what about those people? Like, you're literally using slave labor, but you want to project certain things. But you know what? That's a whole nother topic for a whole another day. So I wanted to jump into the main thing, which is the Bucks versus the Heat. And my prediction last round for the Bucks was going to be a sweep, right? But the Magic beat them. So I'm like, okay, fine then. Bucks in five. Bucks in five. All right. So my prediction now for against the Heat will be Bucks in six.
So we just gonna go out there and play basketball and win.
And win?
Yeah.
And how many games?
6. We're gonna win this.
Now, people want to say, the Heat are like this dark horse team that you should be afraid of. You know what, like top 5 and like 3-point attempts, 3-point made. Like they like shoot like the most one of the most threes in the NBA. Top 10 defense. Like I'm thinking, okay, that sounds good, right? Sounds good. You know, I mean, Bucks are like in the same range of that, as well as being the number 1 defense in the NBA. Now, you know, the Greek Freak just won Defensive Player of the Year. Well deserved. All they need to do is just give him the MVP now, and it's boom, one of the greatest seasons ever, right? Regular seasons. To top it off, being the greatest regular season, he has to win, you know, Finals MVP. I mean, just think about it. You know, the season that Steph Curry had in 2016, one of the greatest offensive seasons ever, right? Dude's averaging like 50, 40, 90 on like 30 points, I believe, 400 threes. Like his player efficiency was through the roof. You know, number 1 offense in the league, I believe.
Oh, look at Curry. Oh, man. Bro, Curry look really good with the waves, yo. No homo, bro. He needs to go back to the waves, bro. We can be like 360 wave buddies. We can both have waves together going into 2020. It's making my day watching this.
Broke the all-time regular season record. One of the greatest seasons ever, right? And you think about, you know, the Greek Freak. You know, averaging 30 points in 30 minutes, right? While playing player of the year caliber defense within 30 minutes, right? On pace for 70 wins until his injury and the lockdown that happened. So, you know, also had the highest player efficiency rating at the time as well. That was like above Will Chamberlain. Now, granted, you know, Will Chamberlain had the highest per without blocks, I believe. So, you know, if blocks are accounted for, probably his PR would have skyrocketed up even further. But, you know, it didn't really happen. So that's a caveat to, you know, Will Chamberlain. But, like I said, the Greek Freak, you know, Giannis had one of the best seasons ever. And he needs to cap it off with the MVP that he also deserves. Like, there shouldn't even be a discussion. But for me, Bucks and 6, because, you know, as good as the Heat are playing, right? I mean, think about it. You know, Jimmy Butler playing like shit, right? He's been not playing up to the level of Jimmy Butler that we have seen so far. Like, I don't know if he's dealing with an injury in his hands that we'll find out sooner or later. That's messing with his shot, because this dude is like averaging like 20% from like 3 or something. I mean, those were some Westbrook shooting numbers, right? And yeah, I think like, will Jimmy Butler be like the one holding them back from really beating the Bucks? Because they're really overachieving right now when it comes to her role players. When you think of Duncan Robinson, when you think of Tyler Harrow, Kendrick Nunn, you have 2 of their rookies right now that you can make the case for having a great Rookie of the Year campaign, right? Then you got Duncan Robinson having a career year, being the number 1, you know, 3-point shooter in the league right now in attempts and made. I think he has like yeah, both of them, right? High percentage from 3. Then you got Bam Adebayo, who's all-star this year, you know, playing some elite defense. And you think, wow, you know, you can make the case like, hey, they can, you know, they're a dark horse, right? Not really. Like I said, you know, when it comes down to who they're playing now, a championship level contending team, like, I don't think they have enough. Like, they're like one piece away from being a contending team. Like, the Miami Heat are not really a true contending team. Like, they're just a good, solid team overall, right? And, you know, at first I thought the Heat would have had more trouble with the Pacers. I thought, you know what, maybe I'll put Pacers, like, you know, the Heat in like 6. I feel like, you know, there's gonna be games where, you know, TJ is gonna go off and stuff. You know, Oladipo's gonna show up a little bit. And it did happen, but it still wasn't enough, right? So they ended up sweeping the Pacers, which is good, like nice. Like, get more rest for your players and, just focus on the next time in hand. And you're up against a real challenge now, which is the Bucks. Now, could it go to 7 games? I mean, I've seen people predict us going 7 games. I think it could, on the pretext that, Chris Middleton's bum ass keeps on messing up, right? Like, I mean, this dude was so trash against the Magic. Now, is there leeway to, his trash play because the Magic has some great defense? Yeah, sure. But, you're the secondary person on, a contending team, right? You supposedly had a almost 50-40-90 season on the regular season averaging 20 points, right? You need to show up. And he showed up, I think, like on the last 2 games where he put up 20 points. I'm thinking, okay, like now there's no pressure on you, I guess you can say. No pressure. So now you're just getting out your funk. But, stuff like, 9 points, 8 points is unacceptable, bro. Like, the championship is the goal for the Bucks. And for you to, like, put up certain performances like that, it's just disappointing. Like, dude, like, come on. Like, when Chris Middleton was on the come up, like, I thought this guy was so underrated, two-way wing, hit the three. Like, you can, like, he is, like, an essential wing that every team can use, right? I'm thinking, okay, nice. This Buck team on the rise with Giannis and Chris Middleton, looking good. Now that they gave him that max contract, like, ugh, like this is it. Like, this is what you can give me. Like, I don't think so. So, can he go 7? Yeah, Chris Middleton's bum ass. Bledsoe's playing like trash too. So, overall, I mean, Giannis is carrying this team on his back right now. He's putting up some, crazy numbers. 30 and 11 and like 5 and like all these like high percentage like field goal like games. And can the Heat really contain this guy right now? Like yeah, they had that game the regular season where they beat the Bucks without Jimmy, and that memorable play of Bam Adebayo blocking Giannis like down I think like fourth quarter, and so sealed the deal basically, if I remember correctly. And now these guys gonna meet these guys for like 4 games at least, and we'll see what happens. I mean, like, yeah, I think like for the Heat, like will the rookies hit the rookie wall like right now? Like, I mean, these dudes are playing good, right? Like, I mean, these rookies, they're still rookies. They're playing good, but I don't know if hitting the rookie wall right now will be the downfall for the Heat. Basically, like, it's the first play. Like, man, the Pacers. I thought the Pacers would give more of a fight, but it didn't really look like the case. And they weren't really truly tested. So now this time we'll see if the Heat are for real. Like, will be truly tested. Tyler Herro, Kendrick Nunn. Now you can see if Andre Iguodala's defensive IQ will come into play when it comes to guarding Giannis right now, and who will just make the most adjustments, man? Because Budenholzer just does not make adjustments whatsoever. He doesn't care. Like, I'm like Budenholzer is kind of overrated in a way where he can change your team dynamic and help elevate your team, but at the same time he's pretty stubborn in his ways where he won't like guard the 3. He won't like make adjustments like lineup adjustments until it's like probably like too late. And even then, when he tries to do it, it's just like, why didn't you do it earlier? Like, what the hell's wrong with you? But that's just him. Then you got Eric Spoelstra, who was a great coach, and he's he's overachieved a lot with, his previous Miami Heat teams where they didn't really have like anyone, and they were just like up afloat. And now when Bam, they get rid of Whiteside, they give Bam the starting role, to get Jimmy, and now look what we have here. I think they're like fourth. I think they're fourth. So I mean, just give Spoelstra, better players, and here's the results. Super good, solid team, but they lack, a true superstar team. Like at the end of the day, championships are won by superstar players, right? Like superstars. Like, can you win without superstars? Very rarely. I mean, when you think about the Detroit Pistons, right? People want to say, "Oh, Detroit Pistons lack a superstar." Sure, but just think about it. Like they have 4 All-Star caliber players, right? They had Billups, who's a Hall of Famer, and he was a top 5 point guard at his position. Then you go to Ben Wallace, who should be a Hall of Famer, right? 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Let's see. He is, he's made the All-Star teams, multiple times. You got Rasheed Wallace, who used to be a franchise player for the Portland Trailblazers, right? Top 5 power forward at his position. He's made the All-Star games multiple times. Then you got, Richard Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince. So, what more you got, man? I mean, that team, that Detroit Pistons team was better than people give him credit for. Right? So can you really make the argument that the Heat are basically the Detroit Pistons? No. There is no comparison whatsoever. So, I mean, what they lack, they'll probably give a fight, good fight, but at the end of the day, I think the true superstar, and with the Bucks, wins in the end with Bucks in 6. Now, the other matchup in the East with the Toronto Raptors and the Celtics. And now, for me, I believe the Celtics are going to take it in 7. And here's why. When you think of the Raptors season, right? You think like, oh, like they don't have once Kawhi leaves, they're not going to do well. Whoever really said that they're going to do well is pretty disingenuous, because the fact that they were a great team with Kawhi Leonard, and now once Kawhi leaves, they become a good team, right? And it shows through the regular season that they're a good, solid team. Yet again, like the Heat, good, solid team where they lack a true superstar. They don't really have a superstar. Even Pascal Siakam, this is his first time being the lead guy and the Raptors, but in a way as well, like Kyle Lowry is there to back him up, and Kyle Lowry's an all-star player, right? Like, just by looking at this team, people should give more respect towards the Toronto Raptors. I mean, they have 2 Defensive Player of the Year caliber players in Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka, with Marc Gasol actually winning Defensive Player of the Year, right? You got Kyle Lowry, who's good in defense, holds his own. Pascal Siakam, he's great 2-way wing, right? I mean, just think about it. I mean, they got a bunch of 2-way wings. They can guard the point guard position with Kyle Lowry. They can guard it with Norman Powell as well. They have a good 6-man in Van Fleet. Like, dude, the overall is just solid, and they're beating people off a championship experience right now. I mean, this is just basically just 94, 95 Bulls, where basically, Michael Jordan retired, and the Bulls wanted to prove to everyone that, like, hey, like, we should be getting credit too, right? You've been trying to give all this credit to, Michael Jordan, but here we are, where where we've contributed, to our run, and they won 55 games, right? So what? They get bounced out in the semifinals, right? That's what I'm gonna see from the Raptors. I mean, Raptors are trying to prove to everyone that hey, it was just not Kawhi's, presence on the team. We're the surrounding pieces that also helped with that championship run. And it's just kind of eerie to me. Like dude, like the Bulls had that one season when they went 55 wins. And then the next season, they were like close to not making the playoffs. Like pretty close. Now, will that happen to the Raptors next season? I don't think so, but it's just that same premise. It's pretty interesting because Kawhi Leonard is the one playing like the Michael Jordan play style, and he leaves to like another team, and now this surrounding cast is trying to prove it to the rest of the NBA, like put some respect on the Raptors. But going to the Celtics, right? Like the Celtics have some elite defense as well, and what they make up for, the difference in this matchup is obviously, why I believe Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, who are, the better players compared to, Kyle Lowry and, Pascal Siakam. Like these two, like Kemba Walker, in my opinion, is a borderline superstar at times. And Jason Tatum's also, borderline superstar at times. Like, I mean, these two players can go off for 40 anytime. Great defense can only do so much sometimes. Sometimes you gotta bow down your head and say, hey, good game, like nice shot. Like there's certain things like you can just minimalize. And the Celtics have so much wings on the team that they can match up basically everyone in the league right now. I mean, they have the best point guard defender, in my opinion, Marcus Smart. They have, probably the most dynamic wing duo right now that I can think of in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? And then you have, the all-star himself, Kemba Walker, right? So it's gonna go down to like 7. It's gonna be a hard-fought battle, and we'll see what happens when it comes to the player adjustments. But I just feel like, Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum is what, the Raptors lack, and what I would consider like superstar caliber players. Like I know Pascal Siakam's almost there, but I think Pascal Siakam is, I think Pascal's like what's 26, 27. So I think his prime is right now. So can he like really get better? Like even better like than he is now? Like he's like a 20-point scorer right now, right? Playing some great defense. Two-wing player. And sometimes you see, I think like, like the potential might be limited, right? To like age sometimes. And I just think like Pascal's like kind of who he is right now, which is, an all-star player, while Jason Tatum has a chance to be, the best player in the NBA. He has that potential to be the best player in the NBA. I mean, just by looking at him, two-way wing, can, play the mid-range, shoot the three, elite, post and footwork. He can do it all. And, the Boston Celtics, I feel like they're not really being considered right now when it comes to, making an appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I feel like they have every tool at their disposal right now. They're playing like a, like a team that's pretty focused right now. And they absolutely have the chance to beat the Raptors. Like some people are not even giving them like as much due as that they should be. Like, I mean, just think about their whole lineups right now. Like Yeah, they're missing Gordon Hayward right now, but dude, they have basically everything. They can do whatever they want right now when it comes to wing play. And I mean, look, Pascal Siakam, we'll see right now how the Raptors are tested. Because the Nets and the Raptors series, dude, it was gonna be a sweep like 100% of the time. And if the Raptors lost one game, like you gotta think like, okay, whatever. They caught slipping, but dude, they were not gonna be tested. The Celtics also were not even tested as well. Like the Sixers team was a broken down, battered Sixers team that had no business, making to the second round. Like this team just gave up. Like they really gave up on the coach and stuff. And that's just like another thing where they got fed up with, Brett Brown. They're thinking like dude, like, F this guy. Like they threw him under the bus, basically. I mean, I just think the Celtics, like overall, just have like the better player and the better team. Like the Raptors are kind of also overachieving as well. I mean, Fred VanVleet's having a career year as well right now. Norman Powell's having, I believe, a career year. I mean, a lot of like the shots that Kawhi was taking, like it's all been spread out now. Pascal's having a career year. Like everyone's having career years in the Raptors, and this series going down to 7 just because, the Raptors are using their championship experience against the Celtics, who are trying to get there just to get to the championship 4 right now, which is the finals. And, the Celtics have been to the Eastern Conference Finals, multiple times, I believe, with, Brad Stevens on hand. And I just think they got what it takes to beat the Raptors. Like just by comparing the players, like I just feel like they have the better wings, they have the better point guard. When you think about Fred VanVleet and Norman Powell, like off the bench, like you got Mark Smart, who I think is the better player, and Marcus Smart is the one's probably guarding Fred VanVleet, probably guarding, let's see, Kyle Lowry. When Kyle Lowry comes back from his injury. Wait, are they starting Marcus Smart right now because Gordon Hayward's off? Maybe they are. So, yeah, I mean, Marcus Smart. And even then, you can put Marcus Smart and Pascal Siakam. I mean, Marcus Smart, can guard like multiple positions. So, we'll see what happens right there. But like overall, like, I think Celtics and 7. I mean, it may be unpopular to say, but I think the Celtics make an appearance in the Eastern Conference Finals again. Overall in the West right now, yeah, say like I thought the Nuggets would beat the Utah Jazz in like 6. Is there hope for the Nuggets? Kind of. I feel like, all of a sudden, Mike Conley was playing like ass the whole season. All of a sudden he goes in the bubble and he's all good. I wonder why. Like, so what's gotten into Mike Conley all of a sudden? Like he's a new man in the bubble. And, Denver missing Gary Harris right now. And Paul Millsap looking pretty fragile. I'm like, what is Paul Millsap doing? Right? And then, we got Michael Porter Jr. Can't really defend at all. Seems, I think there's like a stat where it showed like the players that Michael Porter Jr. guarded, like 70% of them scored. I'm like, okay. Like, goddamn. Like, how are you, that length, and that tall, and you're giving people all those points? right? You got Jamal Murray putting up 40 points. You got Donovan Mitchell putting up like 50, 40, 30 points and all that
To
stuff.
see this dude right after the game. He just dropped 57.
So, and all that stuff. It was more interesting than I thought it would be, the Utah Jazz has surprised me, but honestly, like the Nuggets will be the ones that will be providing the Clippers the most trouble in the second round. Then you go to like fast forward to like the Clippers, right? You got the Clippers dealing with Luka Doncic and company, and like that series kind of surprised me as well. Like I thought the Clippers would beat them in like five. I'm like, you know what? I think Luka Doncic will have a big game, and the Clippers just beat them. And when you think about it, it should have been five, right? I mean, out that game winner, like Paul George was playing like so bad. Like, well, he was playing up 20% from like field goal, giving you like 10 points, right? 20%, bro. I can give you 20% for free. Like, I can give you those numbers for free. This dude's giving you those numbers. I'll get paid $30 million a year, right? PG 13%. Like, if Paul George just played not even horse shit like how he did. He just played like just terrible instead of just horse shit, right? They would have won the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm no James Harden. I'm no, that's not my knack is to shoot the ball and score the ball. I can, and I pride myself on being effective on both ends. But it's gonna be nights like this where I just can't make a shot.
And Mavs right now are playing overachieving right now on momentum. I mean, Luka Doncic is playing great, like on like a sprained ankle or whatever's, and their bench is stepping up. But then you got the news of Kristaps Porzingis being out for the rest of the playoff series, and with that meniscus tear and whatnot. I mean, something was weird. Like, I mean, he finished the game in like game 4, and then he didn't play like game 5, or was it game 3? He didn't play. He finished in game 4 and 5. He didn't play, and then the news came out that meniscus tear, and like you thinking like, what the, like where did this come from? So I mean, yeah, I mean, this is just momentum right now for the Dallas Mavericks. They're playing great, but Clippers are slowly coming and beating them now. Can you argue like there's some rough ball going on? Probably. It is in the NBA's best interest that both the Lakers and the Clippers meet up in the Western Conference Finals because it's the most ratings, right? And it'll be a narrative of it being the first time both LA teams play each other in the playoff series. Like it'll be a long time, a very long time. I mean, that was the narrative like back in 2007, I believe, when Kobe was up 3-1 against the Suns. Like they already thought the Lakers were gonna win, right? So they think, semifinals is gonna be the Clippers versus the Lakers, right? It's gonna be Coutinho Mobley, like Elton Brand and Corey Maggette and like stuff against Kobe Bryant. It'll be like it was that narrative that they're already prepping up, and then the Suns came back 3-1 and it beat the Lakers. So it is due to ratings and they're trying to amplify everything right now. It is in the NBA's best interest that both LA teams meet up in the playoffs. So, with that being said, like, Paul George is playing well right now. I mean, they smashed the Dallas Mavericks by like 20 points from what I saw. I'm like, okay. you know, where was this, right? Where was this earlier? But the Clippers is like this guy's a bunch of chemistry issues, and they just need to figure it out fast before they meet the Lakers. And then let's see, you jump to the Lakers side, right? Like the Lakers should have swept this Portland Trailblazers team. Like from what I've said previously, like the Lakers, like just smashed like the Blazers by like 30, like multiple times.
Come on, man. That's too easy.
It's like they've been blowing them out like nothing. Like this Portland Trailblazers team is just all hype and it's all bark and no bite, right? Like everyone was making it sound like the Portland Trailblazers have a chance to beat the Lakers. Like, dude, the Portland Trailblazers are struggling against the Nets, right? The Nets, like it was literally just Karis LeVert driving in over and over again to get 36 points or something. Like the Portland Trailblazers are not impressive whatsoever. And they beat them game 1. Both teams didn't play good at all, right? So they should have won that game if they just performed a little bit better. And then basically it was all she wrote. Lakers beat them in 5. So it is what it is. Portland's journey is over. In my opinion, like it should have been like the Suns to be the AFC. Like originally, I thought the Portland Trailblazers would probably give the Lakers the most trouble, but just by seeing this performance by them, I'm like, okay, I think the Suns would probably give more fight now. I mean, because they were basically on it right now, 8-0. And how can you be 8-0 and not make the playoffs? That sucks. But whatever, it's NBA rules, right? And then now you jumpstart to the Rockets, right? The Rockets, in my opinion, should beat them OKC in 5.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
But they got extended because of the ref ball again. I mean, there's a lot of issues when it comes to the referees in this bubble. Like every player that I'm seeing is getting like 5 fouls. Like that is the most I've seen, I feel like, in a long, long time. Like these dudes are just getting fouls left and right. Like in game 3, where the game was in overtime, right? I think in the first minute they just fouled out Harden. I'm thinking to myself, what the, like, how you call that, man? Like once Harden fouled out, it was game over basically, and it did happen, game over. And then the Rockets lost. Game 4, and then Westbrook comes back right now, and it blew them out by like 20. So there's that. I mean, the Western Conference, playoffs right now have been like been pretty surprising. I mean, you would think that that both of the LA teams would dominate, right? But both of the LA teams didn't really dominate to the extent that I thought they should have. And then you have the Nuggets, who I thought always been a top seeded team, and now they're struggling against a Jazz team that is lacking basically like their second best player. And you jumpstart the Rockets, where I'm thinking like, dude, so this is it, huh? This is it for OKC, where the Rockets, James Harden, who's focused right now, no more stripper joints for him. Should have ended it earlier, but I mean, just by thinking about the overall playoffs right now, it's been pretty good. I mean, this bubble atmosphere has been pretty nice. Like, these guys get to focus on basketball, which means you get to play at the highest level while without any distractions or extracurricular activities. Because I'm pretty sure, like, once players win these like games, right, they just go party out like afterwards, and now you can't. I mean, you got like James Harden, right? I think James Harden one time he lost the series against the Warriors. In 2015, he just went to the strip joint like right away. So, you know, Houston strip joint legend James Harden, getting his jersey retired there. So, I think right now is basically best chances to win a championship. A lot of teams got that chance right now. So like that are not being acknowledged. Celtics, they can actually, who knows? They can probably end up in the finals, like whatever. It's like then later on you go to the Western Conference side, like who knows? Houston can make it to the finals, right? They got the best chance to make it to the finals if they heat up right now. I mean, they're shooting like a bunch of threes and they're on fire. They blew out OKC and by 20 points. So hey, can you maintain the streak? And if you can maintain the streak, you're in. Basically, you beat anyone. This Houston team looking pretty good, right? So it is some interesting times right now. It's interesting times. Now, it is kind of like the end of summer, man. Summer went in pretty quick. Although everyone's just staying inside, so they weren't really doing much. And California's literally on fire, from what I'm seeing. And no one really cares. I feel like all these bad news that people are seeing, rest in peace to the Black Panther. Like all this bad news, like people are getting desensitized to it. Like so either think, oh yeah, obviously that's gonna happen in 2020, right? Like stuff like that. Like who knows what's coming next? I mean, I've said it previously, the alien invasion that's coming. Like I'm waiting, still waiting. Whether it's Project Bluebeam or an actual alien invasion, I don't know. Right? Like it's wild times right now. It's like the Wild West right now. Like every man for themselves in those riding cities. Every man for themselves. Stocks only go up higher and higher in the stock market. That's what I'm saying, bro. Like if you're a gambler, I'll see you at the stock market. But overall, the end of August, football's coming back. So who knows what's up? That's in store for us right now. But I'll be signing off right now. I just want to say to you guys, thanks for listening, and hope y'all stay safe out there. I'm out. So I'll see y'all later. Peace out.